There you go, Lee.
Take two.
Thank you very much. How do? Sorry about last episode. Camera died a bit prematurely on me. 710, 710, back again. We were just talking about weed.
Yep. Someone mentioned in the comments, well, he said he's clean, but he's on weed, so he's not really clean. I absolutely agree, because weed is not what it used to be. It's a lot stronger, it's a lot more potent. And in actual fact, I know there's two young people watching this who might do well to listen, because this speech impediment that I've got is related to the weed, I think.
Does it give you a bit of paranoia?
Yeah.
I ain't smoked for years, mate.
Yeah.
Skunk, as I sort of not grew out of it, it was just my social group changed and everything. And like I said, you know the stuff I used to smoke, you just relax, few beers, get munchies, have a giggle.
Yeah,
giggle gear.
It's not.
Skunk were just coming in.
It fucking wipes you out.
And I remember going to a party, I went smoking, and I thought, you know, people were just out of it, you know, couldn't get a conversation out of them.
I wouldn't advise it for excuse me, my speech impediment is starting up.
It's alright, mate.
I wouldn't advise it to any young people. I wouldn't advise it to anyone, to be honest, because it's far more potent, and it's affected me with PTSD. I think it's made it worse. Because
does it give you paranoia?
Yeah.
And
yeah, you know, occasionally I've fucking barricaded furniture up behind the door.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even hiding from anyone, you know. And also what I'll bring up, I'm not hiding my face because I've been punished. I'm just protecting my family, you know. They're not criminals. They've never committed no crime. So I'd ask people to respect their privacy, not mine. All my stuff's been in the public domain.
Fair dues, on good point.
Yeah, it's been there, it's been out there. I believe it's been archived now. You know.
Did your sister and that see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whole family's seen it.
Were they happy with it?
Yeah. Yeah, they think it's good that I've done it, and they've been very encouraging.
I did comment, you guys, it weren't on camera, that when I first arrived, I think I like 710 better than 710.
Yeah, it's quicker.
A lot more different person, different. It's very difficult, isn't it? You know, you rock up somewhere, you don't know somebody, and then you're telling your life story.
Yeah.
However, much more relaxed.
Yeah, but I look at it like this: you're prison officer, so I can speak to you because I know what you've seen. I know that you understand a bit where I'm coming from.
I'm starting to realise that actually, you know, it is a good thing, because you can also get things out of people.
Yeah.
You know, if I were just interviewing you, then I might be able to let you talk for 2 hours and not say anything, which a very small percentage of people who like going about you interrupting might be happy with. However, there's also things I want you to tell these people and expand on so they get a better understanding as well.
Let me just be honest. The first interview I did with you has been therapeutic to me, because I've watched it over and over and over and over and over, and it's been more therapeutic than anything the NHS has had to offer me over the past 4.
Why have you watched it over and over? Just to get a bit of a sort of... It's not vanity, is it?
No.
No, I know it's not. I'm just wanting you to try and...
I'm struggling with the PTSD at the minute. I'm really struggling with it. Sometimes I find my head is literally back in the 90s. It's very hard to explain, and I don't really want to go that too deep into it.
No, of course not.
It was therapy, and the reason I've gone back over watching it is to get I need to put things in order. I need to have a clearer understanding of what the fuck went on in my life. You know? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you understand though? I mean...
So you absolutely, listen, I've been asked enough times, right? I've never had no regrets, mate. I mean, I always said, better to regret having done something than not regretted it.
Yeah.
But people, you know, it is a very, very, the people I'm meeting, it is a popular theme. I don't mean that in a sort of like, you know, I'm a psychologist or anything like that. I mean, people are looking what they did and sort of not questioning themselves. I think a lot of it is about when we get back to people loving themselves and that. You know, a lot of people sort of hate themselves, hate what they've done to their families or whatever.
I've been carrying it around for fucking years.
You know,
and I feel like I'm shaking a bit of it off. If you understand what I mean.
Well, yeah, of course. If gets back to when people say, you know, there is people, you know, if you look at some of these sort of guys who they look back in a very different way to what you are. You're not glamorised anything. The people in interview, they're not glamorised anything. He's saying exactly how it is prison.
Yeah.
A lot of these people glamorise it, you know, I had my weed, I had my vodka, I was partying, got screws in my pocket, this, that and the other. It's not about that. But at the end of the day, you know, you've done your time, you owned up to everything, you did your 8 years or whatever. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't enjoy what life you've got left at best you can, but it does weigh people down, you can see that.
Yeah.
Some people it's still affecting. License conditions and that, you know, they're fearful. Jay, who I'm going to be interviewing, first guy I've interviewed, IPP prisoner, he's absolutely, you know, he's got probation, or they're terrified, some of these people, to do anything.
Yeah. I'm lucky that way because I've been out that long that I'm not tied into any probation or anything like that.
No, but there's no reason why, you know, people do. They feel bad. I'm quite sure all your family are happy that you're still alive.
Yeah. And surprisingly, I didn't know how they'd react to it because I didn't tell anyone I was doing it.
Well, it's not something, you know, you spoke from the heart and that, and I don't know, imagine your family a few tears, I would think.
Yeah.
Speaking about it.
I wasn't going to mention it to anyone, but I didn't want anyone stumbling upon it, and so I told them afterwards, and they've had a look, and the feedback off my family is quite surprising. How you doing, Sam? You know, my sister's, I spoke to her this morning, you know, she was like, you needed to open up and talk about it. It's just because you never fucking talked to me about it, you know.
There you go.
So, therapeutic for me, maybe. That'll fucking upset people that I'm benefiting from it. Some people.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. They need to, you know, people need to get over things.
Yeah, yeah.
This bitterness is a bit reoccurring as well, where people, you know, from your past life now, everybody I've spoke to, there's somebody, lead a bench screw, you know, a relationship he had, a relative, phoning his gaffer, phoning places. Do you know that this guy, yeah, he's been to prison? Fucking hell, it was 10 years ago, get over yourself.
It's fucking spiteful,
It is. And that is happening, but what you need to do, you know, that says a lot about them, doesn't it, as people.
Yeah. It says more about them than it does about
Yeah,
you.
you know, there's no reason that you can't sort of get on. I would imagine it's some relief on your part that your family have, you know, sort of taken it, because I would think the first half an hour of meeting you, you didn't look terrified, but there was a lot of apprehension.
Yeah.
You could see you sort of thinking.
I wasn't even sure what I was doing, but.
Well, I'm sort of looking and thinking, you know, you could see your brain going, "Oh, am I doing the right thing here?"
Yeah. And I'm still not sure if it is the right thing, but it feels.
I tell you what helps. I keep talking about the subscribers and the people who are watching and positive comments. People are taking it for what it is, right?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you're always going to get the odd person who's going to be. But it's a small percentage. The majority of people are saying, thanks for that, yeah, we know what you're saying. And like you said, the weed, you've taken that on board. You know, it's...
I was surprised.
It's a good environment. It's
That'll lead us on to the next subject quite well. The listeners.
oh yeah, go.
Yeah.
Tell me. Well, I obviously have a good idea, but yeah, please do.
The Samaritans work in all the prisons in the country.
We have some a few viewers abroad, America and stuff like that. Just explain, just quick for them, what the Samaritans are and then their connection to the listeners.
The Samaritans, basically, in some countries you'd find the card in phone boxes for people who might be upset. They might just want someone to talk to. They might be feeling suicidal. The Samaritans are there just for an ear. They're not going to advise you. They're not going to give you any advice, but they're there to listen. And sometimes listening is all that's needed.
Really listening.
Yeah.
Not just acknowledging and then doing something.
Yeah. So what they did is they decided to train a certain number of inmates in every prison to be listeners for the Samaritans. Now the training process is not something. If it was run by the prison service, I can imagine it'd be a shambles. But it's run by the Samaritans, the training, and I think in Dartmoor they would take 12 inmates, and out of that 12 that would go through the 3-month training, only probably 2 or 3 would get the job as a listener. You don't get paid for it, because then it might be looked at as that's why you're doing it, for some money.
Yeah.
So you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and it doesn't help it might help towards your parole, or I don't know, but it's not something that you should do to get parole. I did it because I was sat on a wing killing time because they was refusing me to go work outdoors. So I did the training with the Samaritans, and you're on 24-hour call out. So if an inmate's feeling suicidal, they don't want to speak to a member of staff, but they might speak to another inmate. They put me in a few sticky situations in Dartmoor, sending me in with inmates who were violent and dangerous. They shouldn't have done it. They got in trouble for it. But on the whole, some inmates just need to offload or to speak about it. So that was my job. I think every jail probably got about 6 listeners or something like that.
Explain about the confidentiality bit.
Oh yeah, and confidentiality is whatever the inmate tells you stays with you, unless it's a threat to the security of the prison or a threat to the state. I think that's right. It's just them 2 threats.
Is that what they tell you? Because obviously we're not privy to that.
Yeah. The only thing you've got to tell them is if they say they're going to kill themselves after you left, you're not even allowed to tell them that, But if they say they're going to go and hurt a minor, that's one thing. If they say they're going to hurt a minor, or they're going to escape, or they're going to commit an offence against the state, they're the 3 things where you're obliged to then go and tell the staff what they've said. But otherwise, no. And also, you will get some governors where they want to know, because you might go in to listen to an inmate, and then that inmate might assault someone a few days later or something like that, and then the governor wants to talk to you about it. Now, it's confidential what you spoke about in the pad. Me as a listener and the inmate who I've been listening to, if he's not made any of them exceptions or made any threats against the state, I'm not obliged to tell the governor anything. And the governor didn't like it, but the Samaritans have got some of the best solicitors in the country. So if you ever needed, if a governor was ever pressing you for information about what was said in a conversation, they're going to find themselves in court with some good solicitors, because they have got the backup of some good solicitors. But the reference, I was quite surprised they gave me a reference when I got out of jail, and it brought a tear to my eye. I didn't look at it like that. The way the words.
What did it say? Can you remember?
Doubtless that I'd saved lives. I don't know about that. You know, a lot of inmates call listeners out because they want to roll up. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, or you might have the odd listener who's running errands for people and stuff like that. But on the whole, they're well trained and they do a good job. I don't know whether I saved lives or not, but it became a security issue for me towards the end because when I wanted outside work, they didn't want me having free movement around the prison as well as a listener because I could be bringing stuff in. So it became a security issue. So then it became a question of, look, you can be a listener, but you're not.
Not working outside work.
Yeah, you can go back on the main and do it. You can go back on the main jail and do it. You're not having outside work and then floating all around the prison in the middle of the night. Understandable, really. So I had to give it up. But I did it for about 18 months. And it was...
Did you ever confide in staff?
Oh yeah, you have regular offloading sessions because if you have had a busy week where you had maybe an inmate every night or sometimes in the early hours of the morning, you need to offload everything that you've taken on yourself, but you only offload with a Samaritan from the Samaritans, nothing to do with the prison staff.
No, what I was going to say, have you ever confided, you know, if someone said they were going to take their own life, like when you left a cell?
No one's ever said that.
Have they not?
No. I've had it when I first got in there, and you know I did. But
then they won't need a smoke and
yeah.
a phone call. And
yeah, and then you're left thinking to yourself. I think he actually only just wanted to smoke, but you know there was a lot of legitimate cases, but I found myself struggling to identify with some of the lads because some people were feeling suicidal because maybe they were gonna lose the mortgage, or maybe the missus was gonna leave them and they were serving a 3-month sentence, and I was finding it hard to identify with them because I felt like saying, well, get a fucking grip, walk a mile in my shoes, you know, maybe that's selfish, but I was finding it increasingly difficult to identify with them, except of course there were some really serious cases, but in the end I think they end up having to see a psychiatrist anyway. But it's a job that drains you emotionally, mentally. It is draining. If you've had a night call out, you get the full day off work the day after to stay in bed or whatever, because if it's been a stressful night call. Some of them could go on for 3-4 hours, you know. I remember every week I used to think, please don't call a listener while Shameless is on. every week I guarantee you, as soon as Shameless come on, I nearly dropped my name then.
Did you have a lot?
In Dartmoor, yeah. In Dartmoor, it was...
So we tried to, at Strangeways and Forest Bank, tried to have, if it were a big wing like K-Wing, maybe a couple. Seg, try and have somebody on the Seg who were a listener, try and have someone on healthcare. You know, so you didn't have to fetch them from other wings and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were spread out. Some of them were sex offenders as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to train with them.
Yeah.
You know, if you couldn't do that, then you can't be a listener, can you, really, basically? If you can't grit your teeth.
Well, you can't pick and choose who they're going to put you in with.
And it could be a sex offender who's coming to listen to you. You probably wouldn't know. Well, you probably would know because you've not seen them on the main wing. Yeah. So you probably would know, but yeah, there was sex offenders as well, which, you know...
But Strangeways, you know, again, they'd have a couple of actual sex offenders on the sex offender wing. We didn't, you know, you wouldn't have a normal location prisoner and a VP prisoner.
Thinking about it now, maybe I think that was the case, but they trained with us.
Yeah, they did the training, the chaplain, I remember that.
Yeah.
Taking lads down, because we always used to, as orderlies, we kept for a long time on healthcare. You know, they might be on there anything from 6 months, 12 months, so we always got them signed up on the listeners course and whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, probably a VP inmate wouldn't go into a normal con. So yeah, you're probably right about that. But yeah, I done it 18 months. It was an eye opener. I got good references from him, and that was another 18-month chapter of my life. Another one was when I when I finally did get the resettlement. I mean, I'll try and
Again, just explain again what resettlement is for people
um.
who don't, you know.
I was a prolific offender, which means a repeat offender. I kept repeat offending. So what I identified was my resettlement needs was a steady address and employment and an income for when I got out. Some people have their resettlement needs dictated for them. In fact, most of them do. They'll be told what they need for when they get out. And
What are your thoughts of people being sent to hostels and that?
I was sent to one once, and it was right in the middle of Cornwall, and it was full of sex offenders because it was so far out in the middle of,
Yeah.
And I got breached because I couldn't. Hostels, I don't.
You're not the first person, a lad who I know really well.
Quite a lot were getting breached.
Him and his mate, not at the same time, within a few weeks, were sent to a hostel 60 mile away from Manchester. And it was sort of in a village environment, and it was full of sex offenders, and his mate ended up battering one and went back to prison. He kept his head down, used his legal, his solicitor brief, whatever, and he got moved to one because they said, hold on a minute, this is not
Because you could have lads that have been victims of sex offenders.
Well, yeah.
It's going to cause trouble then if you're in a hostel. I mean,
what about the drugs aspect though? Addicts going out. There's one in Bury, infamous. Pretty much everybody I know who went to that hostel got breached. Everybody.
The sex offenders that never used to get breached, I found, at the one down in Cornwall, but that's the only hostel I've ever been in, so I can't compare it to others. But that was the issue. If you wanted to work, you don't have to be on bail to be in an hostel. You could be sentenced to an hostel. Like go to this hostel for a drug treatment testing order, where you'll have to attend courses in the town centre every day or something like that, and then come back to the hostel of a night time. That was the only hostel I had experience of, but they were dying to breach. They was dying to breach. I will tell you, someone put ecstasy in the breakfast milk, and the sex offenders drank it. I was fucking funny, mate. I'll be honest. I come down 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're all running around bright red in the face, puffing and panting, going, I feel quite peculiar. Turns out someone had crushed up a load of ecstasy and put it in the milk. It is where it is. It gave me a laugh, but I couldn't concentrate on doing what courses I had to do because they were quite famous offenders.
Well known in the area, were they?
Well known in the media. Their offences were well known, so you struggled to sit in the same room as them. But I got breached from there anyway in the end. But
what did you get breached? Do you think? Talking to somebody in probation now, I'd still working in probation, so I won't use the name. In fact, a few people about, I said, do you think putting someone who's maybe an addict, coming out of prison, addict, in a hostel where there's drug dealers outside, or saying you can't have a pint or something like that, and you should get breached for them things, do you think that the only reason somebody should be going back to prison is if they're put back in front of a judge for an offence? I'll give you for example. There was a lad, right? He did live on streets a lot. Last time I saw him outside Aldi and Walked in Manchester. Lived most of his life on streets. He come back in, right? He'd had a period, he'd come back in and he ended up on healthcare because he started self-harming, literally gone through all his life, drugs and that, and he started self-harming. He was pissed off and angry that he'd been breached. So what he'd been breached for? I got moved. We had a new manager at the hostel. They asked me to move into a bedroom. When I got in there, literally moved in, I reported that there was a damaged socket broke. Yeah. So whatever time period it is.
Let me guess, they blamed him for it.
Yeah, no, yeah, they did. But here's the thing. I think at that time it was either 6 months, within 3 or 6 months, I think it was 3 months, probation, get in touch, and you could be back in for 3 months, but up to 2 years.
Yeah.
I was phoning probation for him. He ended up getting 2 years. When the paperwork come through, yeah, so he set him off because he'd been stitched up, yeah. When the paperwork come through, it literally said damaged socket in room, bum, bum, bum. And then obviously you're not allowed to damage property and things like that. And that's why he got sent back. And he did 2 years.
Yeah.
All his licence.
They shouldn't have the power. Probation shouldn't have the power because they abuse it.
For me, they should be managing people and everything in their power to keep people out.
See, the thing is, they want easy to manage people.
Well,
so if you're a bit... The lads that I seen, some lads that I seen come through the hostel, there was no ban on drinking unless it was specifically for your offence or anything like that. You could go out have a drink, but there was a curfew. It was 11 o'clock. You had to be in for 11 o'clock. You could have a drink. Some lads were coming in pissed, abusing the sex offenders, you know, and they get breached. But some lads were just a little bit of a handful. That's all. Just a little, you know. And if I'd have said to him, yeah, look, chill out, go up to your room, innit, or you're going to breach or this, they probably would have done it. But they don't warn you or anything like that. You know, the lads would come in, get a bit leery and go to bed.
Do they literally get arrested?
Yeah, and then you wake up in the morning and the place is full of coppers and they take them away. I really don't think that you should give probation officers the power to do that because they don't have to answer as to why they've done it either.
We've had these conversations in a proper manner, yeah, and you know, when I brought up cases, yeah, you can't get breached for being late. It has to go through these procedures, and people, I have seen people breached for nothing and sent back, like him, for 2 years.
I've been breached for associating with known offenders. That was only 3-month licence that I had to go back and do, but because I turned up at probation with someone who was also on probation, they breached me for that. Associating with known offenders. I don't know if they can still do that, you know what I mean, but
I will say I've had some positives about, you know, I've spoke to some people recently whose probation have been amazing and worked miracles. So it's not just having a downer on probation. We're talking about the powers and what that job actually should be. Yeah. And it's all going through a change again, isn't it now?
Yeah, yeah.
The problem is, same as the prison service, recruitment, retaining people, getting the right people and everything else. Because it probably is a stressful job. Probably overworked. Yeah, I know a lot of inside probation in prisons, caseloads.
Yeah, there might be 4 or 5 probation officers in the hostel, and let's say there's 20 residents, so that's 5 each that they've got to be dealing with on a daily basis, constantly. And they'll breach you if the workload's a bit too much. They'll find an excuse. Oh, I need to breach one of them because there's one too many or something for my caseload. So they'll find a way to breach you, and it's counterproductive. It's not fair, and I just don't think they should have the powers to be able to do it. Like you say, a judge is the one who sends you to prison.
Well, it's not just me saying this, but it makes sense to me that the only reason somebody should be going back to prison is for a criminal offence.
Yeah, yeah. But no, they class it as, well, you've already been sentenced for the offence, we're just making you serve a bit more of your sentence type thing. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just another way of emptying the caseload, and then you create a revolving door.
We've also had again, for people who aren't aware of this, prisoners who are coming up to end of the sentence. So how it works in this country, if you get 2 years, you serve 12 months, you get out, you got a 12 months licence where you're under terms and conditions, or something similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
People who've been breached have come back in, they've been kept in, so they may have got a month to go, and then they've got no licence because they've served all the sentence. I've also seen probation concerned about that. But you can't have it both ways.
Oh, yeah, that's
Can't have it.
actually
If
quite
someone served,
cheeky, that, yeah.
you know, seriously, trying to get them out 4 weeks early
Yeah.
to observe them.
Yeah.
But you can't have it both ways, can you?
No, that reminds me of something they pulled on me once. They were talking about rehab, and I was honest to the judge. I said, it's not going to help me. You know, I said, rehab, you know, I said, rehab is something you need to do yourself. To be ordered to do it by a court, I can't speak for everyone, but it undermines it, you know. Rehab is something that only you, when you know it's time, when you've had enough.
Is that like smoking? To stop smoking, you've got to want to stop.
Yeah, when you've had enough of it, basically. That's only then will you do something about it. So I said to the judge, no, I don't want to go in no rehab. And he's like, well, you'll be going to jail then. I said, well, then I'll be going to jail. He gave me 6 months, and you know, no, or was it 12 months? It's either 6 or 12 months. And then they made it a condition of my licence to go to rehab, and I got out. And then breached me for not going to rehab. So I've said to the judge, I don't want rehab, give me the jail.
Yeah, because I'm not going to do it, or it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, I'll be honest, you know, I'm being honest here. Let's not waste all the money on putting me in a rehab when I know I'm not going to do it. You know, I weren't looking at a big sentence. Give me the jail. He gave me the jail, and then I had to do my licence as well because I didn't go to a rehab on release. And I said to probation, I said, but the judge has given me this instead of rehab. Yeah, but now you've done the jail, you strike while the iron's up, while you're clean, getting the rehab now. And maybe they was right, but they didn't have the fucking power. They shouldn't have done it. You know, it's spiteful again. It can only be that. I don't know.
I had no idea. I recently spoke to someone about rehab. I had no fucking idea what rehab were like.
I should point out I've never been through one.
Well, I stupidly thought that rehab, in my head, because I don't know, would be people in a place all going through the detox, whatever they need to do. Yeah. It was pointed out to me that rehab's, in fact, quite a lot of people, terms and conditions like you, so they have to go. When they get in there, they continue to use drugs. Not everyone is wanting to give up, so if you want to give up, there's actually people there who will be using drugs in front of you, still acquiring drugs. It's not what I thought it would be, a very negative type. I in my head, imagine rehab, right? So we've got 12 people living here who all want to stop, so you're helping each other, you're going through, no. Nothing like.
No.
Maybe posh ones.
It's,
you know, these celebrity clinics.
Yeah, I was offered one. Is that the Priory?
Priory, yeah.
Yeah,
Priory.
I was offered that once.
Who's going to fund that?
Probation, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah, it was like talking 20 years. It was when I think Robbie Williams had been in. Did Robbie Williams go in there with the Priory?
I think pretty much.
Yeah.
Most celebrities have had some sort of.
Maybe there's a swimming pool and geese and like art on the ceiling and all that.
Well,
I think
again, somebody who was sponsored, if that's the right term. Somebody paid for them to go through that.
Yeah.
And reading about it, that the people who were in there, so
it's
people
quite
in there.
Expensive as well.
Oh, ridiculously, like I say, This guy was sponsored to go there. The people in there, again, were just. It was almost like, one of them smoked too much weed, and one liked to. It was not. Part of it was right. Part of it was that they would wake you up. Imagine you're going. I can't imagine an heroin detox. Yeah, and day 3, so you're feeling like shit, and somebody comes to you. Right, we're doing yoga, so you have to join a yoga class. That's part of this posh priory type place that they do yoga.
That's pretty much all of them, I think.
But yeah, but me, I thought a rehab, you get some help, maybe for upstairs or whatever. You go through your detox, they'd help you through your detox, maybe some meds and that, and look after you. The detox is for you to deal with. There's your buckets and your chicken soup. However, you need to attend yoga and something else.
Yeah, it's counterproductive because you feel like shit. So that'll get a lot of people breached. Yeah, that's
but
the
rehab's
kind of
not what I thought it'd be.
No, but that is the kind of thing they'll breach you on because you've not gone and done your fucking yoga class or something like that. What thing to be going to jail for?
Yeah, sorry to distract you on that one.
It's alright, but what thing?
Well, how did we get onto probation?
Can't remember. You've been smoking my weed?
No, I haven't.
Right, and there was something else that I wanted to talk about, but I've since learned that there's a media gag order on it, so I ain't even going to fucking go there. There is a certain type of offending that's underreported, and if you look into it, there's a media gagging order up and down the country on it. I'm sure people can use their imagination. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to be in breach of media fucking gag order. But yeah, the other thing I did was I started taking on legal challenges for inmates. Because I was getting that many knockbacks at stuff that I realised the only way to fight them was with their own system, legally. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere. And when you go to court and you get sentenced, you get a solicitor for legal aid. But when you're in jail and you're getting stitched up and you're not getting your release on temporary licence or something, you don't get legal aid for a solicitor for that. I don't think you do. I didn't. So you basically got to pay for one or represent yourself. So I got a good legal knowledge through being forced to have a good legal knowledge to go through it. So I was helping some inmates with their appeals and rottle and stuff like that. I was doing a lot of paperwork for them there.
I was shocked.
I was getting paid off some of them as well, so it was good.
Smokes, whatever.
Yeah, backy and whatever. Yeah.
So, rottle is released on temporary licence. People during the sentence, it becomes available to them. I once was chasing up something for a prisoner. I remember the lad. I can't remember exactly what I was chasing up, but whatever it was, some of these things require governor's signatures, don't they?
Yeah.
In order for something to be processed, like a rottle or whatever, it has input from probation and things like this, but some of it needs a governor's signature. Yeah. And I remember going to this governor's office and he weren't there, at Strangeways this, and it was literally a signature. And it was weeks overdue, whatever it was. And I found the paperwork straight away. There was like an inbox full of things that wanted signing, literally wanted a signature in order to pass them off. So I asked the governor, and he says, I will do that when I get round to it. So basically, in the end, he fucked me off. I just, I said it in a proper way. I said, yeah, and he took offence. He took offence to me asking him to sign off this paperwork for whatever it was. Yeah. And people won't believe that. Pile of paperwork, just needs signature.
Yeah.
It would have literally taken him 2 minutes, and he weren't just one on there.
No, that unfortunately that is the case. Yeah, it's a signature holding you back. In my case, like I told you, the reason for my refusal was to be discussed, and I couldn't discuss it with anyone because as soon as he refused it, he was gone off the wing for a month. So I couldn't discuss it with anyone. So when I started making legal challenges, I had to figure it out for myself. And if I hadn't have made all these challenges and threatened him with a judicial review and all the rest of it, I'd still be snagged up in, well, not now, but I'd still be snagged up in the CCAT system, because someone with my history doesn't usually progress that far into getting resettlement, into working outdoors. I mean, I was actually refused parole, if you can make any sense of this. I was working for DHL. By the way, anyone who's thinking for working for DHL, you could do worse. You know, they're a good company. But I was working for DHL in Gloucester, in a beer warehouse, and I was out the jail all day, and they refused me parole on the grounds that I still presented a threat
Of?
Reoffending. The likelihood of reoffending, I think, was within two years. They put a very high likelihood of reoffending. I don't know where they get this 2-year number from, but I was working outside.
So you're working on the out.
Yeah. And
leaving prison every day, going to work, returning to prison every day.
Yeah, and I actually got refused parole. You know, so on the second parole, I didn't even apply for it on the second one because my release date was 4 months after the parole date. So on the second parole, I said, you know what, I'm not jumping through no more fucking hoops. I'm done. I've done 6 years. I've got a few months left. Keep your parole. No, I'll just go out on my license.
You got a release date.
Yeah, I got out on my release date. I only had 8 months license.
What are your thoughts again for people? If you get 4 years, you serve 2, then you're 2 years on license. If in the community you're breaching that time, they can send you back for the rest of the sentence. Do you not think? And they say they want you on license, yeah, to keep an eye on you. They don't want people doing a sentence today. They don't want you to do 3 years and just leave.
No.
They want you to be on a license so you can be observed.
Yeah, but being on the license is not. That doesn't help you. You know, like you just said, so they can keep an eye on you. Why are you keeping an eye on you?
Well, this is the whole point, isn't it? Supervising.
There's no.
You can go from an armed robbery,
yeah,
to probation, have your meeting, yeah, and then go and nick a car to get home, can't you? It's not supervising people, is it?
No. I have had supervision orders. That's what they call them, supervision orders. And what that entailed was going on probation once a month. Hello, how you doing? Tick your name off. See you in a month.
Have you ever been tagged?
No.
What do you think to that as a system? Tagging, for people who don't know, you'd have something around your ankle. At home, you have a telephone, and it's like GPS tracking system, so they can check where you are any time of the day. I think tagging, if it was used right, properly.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think they use it right. But now they've got the technology to track, haven't they?
Yeah, of course they have.
I see. I'm on learning about this in the last year or so. The old tags, they couldn't track. It was just, they knew if you weren't in.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they knew if you'd left home. There was no tracker in the old tags. Now, if they can actually track you, why not sex offenders got them all on? You know?
Well, I've said this.
People who present a risk to the public, if you can track the movements, do it.
Well, this is what I've said. If someone's committing crime, you know where you're going to go and find them.
If you know they're active.
And if they're removing it, then... I just don't think things like that are used right.
Yeah, misused, obviously. If they used it the right way, they would actually reduce offending. They would. Because if you're being tracked, especially for sex offenders, really, I would have thought that they'd want them all on one of them trackers when they got out. I don't understand the logic behind it. I just don't understand the logic behind it. They use it as a bail condition, or maybe some people will get as part of the licence. They'll have a tag as part of the licence. I don't know what the statistics are for breaching it because I've never had a tag. But yeah, like you say, if they've got the tracking technology, then they're not using it correctly. They should use it to the highest risk of reoffending. Those people that they label as a high risk of reoffending, then track them. If they are, if they've got a tracker on, they're not going to go and commit a burglary if you can ping them at that location, are they? So if it was used correctly, it would be helpful.
With proper sentences.
Yeah. As part of a sentence plan as well.
Do you honestly think that anything you did less than 12 months did anything?
No.
You know, less than 12 months sentence?
No. It became accepted as a norm, as a break, as a clean health break. That's why I didn't use in jail what I did on the out, because by the time I went to jail...
You never used in jail?
Yeah, but I never had an addiction in jail, because it's going to lead to violence. You can't afford to keep a drug habit going in jail if you're on £7 a week or something. You haven't even got a tenner.
Good point. Can you... Obviously, it's changed now, and I know some stuff is ridiculously priced. Can you give an idea of what stuff used to cost when you were in?
I'll tell you
and what quantities?
Oh, for the drugs, it was the phone card deals were back in the day, but a £10 bag out here, they'd probably make 5 £10 bags of in there.
Right.
And they're going to chat. It was phone cards back in the day. They ain't got that no more. So it's probably tobacco. They've got no tobacco no more.
Well, they're still smoking because there's
Right.
obviously burn barons now. Because
Right. Is it?
I got top right. I forgot. My mate was telling me maybe 12 months ago that it was ridiculous. Like a Rizzler, £1, a lighter they paid 20 quid for. In Forest Bank, it might be. You know, I haven't been in the system. In Forest Bank, they were using like a cap off a like lemonade bottle or something, and there was a price on that. It was extortionate. You know, so they'd pack it with backer, and that was the unit that you paid for. But I know the prices were ridiculous for tobacco.
And also, you're going to get staff taking it in now because it's not an illegal drug, is it?
Well,
so they're going to think that
it got banned. I was at Strangeways when it come in. You know, staff was still taking it in and smoking. The smokers, bit obvious as well sometimes, because you could just smell it.
Yeah.
Being a non-smoker, I'd walk on a wing.
It'd wind you up as an inmate if you're not allowed to smoke and a screw comes.
I don't know whether they're on top. Obviously, it was illegal. You could get sacked just same as an nurse could get sacked smoking in hospital.
See, I've not been back.
Yeah, you know, NHS. The healthcare at Strangeways, way before the prison system became non-smoking, because of the trust that, you know, paid for the nurses and that, and the care, you know, people had bid for it every so many years. It was part of that trust, so it was non-smoking, which, on the mental health side, on reflection, at times, was very difficult because... You can imagine you're mentally unwell, you're a smoker, they come on healthcare, you know, we would offer patches, and well, the nursing staff would offer patches and alternatives. However, your backer were gone, we'd take it off you.
In Preston, I hear they've got vapes.
They've got vapes pretty much everywhere.
Have they?
Yeah, they're using them now. They get the paper with a spice on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Use them for phone charges. You know, we're clever. Well, you're clever. They're clever. People are clever, aren't they?
Well, I did say to someone recently, I said, if you're allowed vapes, that means you've got a phone charger.
Yep.
So, pretty much so, yeah. The charger's bigger than the phone. So now you're getting away with having the charger, the phone's as big as your finger. So, yeah, that's security issues there for that one. Yeah, DHL, I've got to praise them. They had some.
Is that the parcel people?
Yeah, but they've DHL Trade Team is another branch of them where, you know, Cheltenham races and all that. They cater for all the alcohol there, and it's.
Oh yeah.
There was no barrel beer, but it was all pallets of.
Bottled beer and that,
cans, bottles, and what a huge warehouse in Gloucester City Centre. I have to have a proper job interview, like you would on
So as a prisoner,
Yeah.
you're going out and they interviewed you for that job?
No, they come to the
prison?
to do interviews. Yeah, and now this is where I'll be honest about my resettlement in Lay Hill. By the time I got to Lay Hill, which was DCAT, they said you've got to go every jail. You've got to start an assessment at every jail you get at. Doesn't matter how many assessments you've had. As soon as you get to a new jail, you've got to have another. So they said, look, you've only got like a year left. You're not gonna get outside paid work. Basically, I seen a member of staff. He was approachable and he was not approachable. I seen a reasonable member of staff, senior officer. Went and spoke to him and told him the situation. I waited till. See, you've got to use your head in these situations. If they just come from twisting someone up and they've come back from the block, don't go asking for favours. Bad timing.
Of course it is.
Some people don't get onto that kind of thing and then kick off themselves when they don't get. Pay attention, see what kind of mood they're in. If they're approachable, give it a go. If it don't work, go.
And there'd be staff who you could approach and they'd help you out, and there's staff who'd tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, and if you get a fuck off, then you move on to another member of staff, don't you? And you keep trying.
Yeah.
But in Lay Hill, the first SO I spoke to, I said, look, my whole sentences have been about this. It's been about getting here, working outside and earning some money. I said, it's the only reason I wanted me cat D is to earn some money. I said, now I'm here, they're telling me, no, you can go and work in the prison officers' social club outside the jail. You can go and work in there for £7 a week and all that again. So the senior officer said, he looked at all my, obviously he's got my page 16 and all that from all the other wings, my wing report and everything. He said, yeah, you've done well on that, but leave it with me. And a few days later, he said to me, right, he said, how do you feel about going over onto the other wing? It's full of sex offenders, because the outside workers was mainly sex offenders, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know why that
Why
is.
do you think that? Well, I'm going to ask you that.
Low risk of escape, abscond.
Not reoffending.
And absconding, yeah. People like me going out to work was unusual. It was usually, like I've said before, your first time offenders, or in the case of Lay Hill, a lot of sex offenders. But the SO basically put my name forward to DHL and got me an interview off DHL, and they were impressed with all the licenses and tickets that I got for the machinery and all that.
Yep.
And took me on warehouse work, forklift, truck driving.
Explain what that involves, people like going outside Cat D again.
There was an inmate who was responsible for taking all the other inmates to work in a big minibus, and he'd take us out. There was only in a jail of Lay Hill probably holds 500 people. I'd say there was only probably 30 people
Who worked
outside out of 500, 30 max. I don't think anyone's working outside there now, but DHL had this contract with the jail, and they was paying us proper wage. It was minimum wage, but it was still a proper wage.
How did that work then? Did it get banked?
It went into your account, but you couldn't spend it. But I found a way around that. Not that I wanted to spend it anyway, but I could do with spending a bit more than a tenner a week. So what I'd do is, they couldn't stop you from sending it out because it's your money, you've earned it. So I'd send it out and get someone to send it straight back.
Yeah.
And then it goes into your private cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that a few times. But that's how it works. You couldn't access it. It was actually a member. It was the what do they call him? Who runs the money in the jail? What's the name of him?
I don't know. Something to do with finance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually him who told me. He said, "Look, if you want to access some of your money, send it out to someone and get them to send it back in."
Common sense, if you think about it, innit?
Yeah. He said, and then it goes on your spends account. So yeah, that was good. And Lay Hill gave me the job, and I worked there for maybe 9-10 months, and
Wow, that's a good savings account, that, isn't
I
it?
came
If
out.
you're,
I come out with about $3,000.
did you?
Yeah.
Is that more than you'd had?
Mate, I was looking at coming out with £80. I think they give you the equivalent of 1 week's benefits. So I think I was looking at the equivalent of coming out with £80. But that SO, I don't even know his name, because after I got moved off the wing, I never seen him again after that. Well, yeah, I liked it. You know, it was,
Did you work out till you got out?
yeah, right up until they even give me an on leave towards the end.
Was Layle a long way from where you'd lived before?
He's in Gloucester, and I was living in Devon, and the
So
offences.
Would they have taken you on if you were local? If you'd have asked for a job, would they give you a job, do you think?
Oh no, this is what I'm saying. They offered me a job in Gloucester, but not only that, they got in touch with Preston, and because I said, look, I'm going up north on release, so they actually contacted the Preston branch of DHL, and there was a job offer there for me.
Wow.
But
you got the council job.
I got the council because I thought that I'd get a contract. I didn't get a contract. They had me working under the agency for a few years, and the way they do that was they'd have to give you a contract after so long. I don't know how many months it is, 3 months is it, and then they've got to give you.
Yeah, usually a probationary period, and then you get a proper.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Well, what they do under agency is they'd work you for 3 months, and then they give you 2 week holiday pay, but they'd count that as end of contract type, and then you do 3 months.
Start doing that in prison service with some jobs.
It's just a way of getting around it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they did there. But for me personally, Layle and DHL and the staff at Layle,
Were they really good?
yeah, and surprisingly also the private jail, Loudon Grange, in Nottingham. The only bad thing I'll say about that jail is if a fight goes off, get ready to fight to the death, because a screw ain't gonna break it up. It's not a safe jail. If you're involved in violence, they'll let the fight burn out. They won't break it up because there's not enough of them.
Well,
there's two of them. There's two of them to
Well, having worked at Forest Bank, yeah, people they don't understand, do they? That's a lot of problem with private sector. However, private sector, public sector, same staffing ratios now. It's just that most of the public sector jails, like K-Wing, is a big wing, so there's more staff on it.
Yeah.
I used to tell people I got ridiculed going from private sector to public. You know, they'd be taking the piss, Forest Bank, bad reputation.
You went from private to public?
Yeah.
All right, I thought it was...
No, I had to apply to go. You can't transfer from private to public.
Is the wage any better?
Now, 22 grand. Private, public, same. It's gone from 30 grand, public sector. I was on 30 grand pension. Pension's gone. They're now on 22 grand.
So people already in the job have took an 8 grand drop?
No, they're still on top money.
Right,
They're the ones
right.
who want out of the job.
Right, I'm with you.
Because
they burnt out. A lot of
They
them.
just don't want people on 30 grand a year. So now, 22 grand, the job, the stress, everything, it's just attracting young people, majority of people.
Yeah.
I've never put anyone off, but the majority of people, the starting is young. Same in private sector, like you've already said. Unless you've been on a wing with 86 prisoners, and there's just 2 here, and one might be a new starter, and there's you know.
That's what you was angry about the other day, the Tesco shelf stackers. They were all new starters. There would be 2 new starters left on their own running the wing.
The private sector, I will keep saying this, you know, they have an agenda. They're not going to put it out as a company statement.
No.
They want 70% turnover of staff. They don't want people longer than 2 years. At 2 years, you get extra holiday, extra 5 days holiday. You get pension contributions. You get a pay rise or whatever. They don't want that.
No.
They're not bothered. And it almost seems like public sector is now following suit. So all these people up here who are, you know, they're trying to change everything and education and reform, they're not realising at the bottom, we're employing you know, they want to call 18, 21 young offenders. Well, the workforce now is all young offenders.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it like that, if you want to call them kids, that's what they're employing. Somebody on one of my posts recently, think I did a vlog, said, why have you got a down on the youngsters? I haven't got down on youngsters. No. However, they're just fish food.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I mean, I've seen lads start in Channings Wood, and I've seen them 20 years later. I wouldn't do it for 100 grand. You can tell it's not what they expected.
It used to be reasonable money. If probably 90% of the population of this country are on well under, 30 grand. So 30 grand would be seen as a decent wage with a pension, wouldn't it? Like coppers, like nurses, etc. 22 grand a year. Unless they sort of staffing out.
But they didn't make it retrospective then. They didn't take people off 30 grand and put them down to 22.
No. What they have done to some people I work with, and this is criminal, retirement age is 68. So I work with people who are younger than me. So they, I joined in my 40s private sector. These people have been in the job probably since round about 21. Who are younger than me. They're in the job now. Their retirement age is 68. None of them are getting to that. They're either going to die before with stress or off with mental health or sick. However, here's the thing. They signed up years before I started to get their pension at 60. Yeah? They now get some of their pension at 60. The majority of it will be paid when they're 68. So they're going to be out at job at 60. They're all out at job at 60. Stress. There's no easy jobs anymore,
I'm surprised they only get to 60 the state of the prisons these days. I mean, like I said,
what they've done is they said to people who I used to work with that you're never going to see a pension now. No. Majority of it.
No. It's a stressful job, no doubt about it. I wouldn't be able to do it.
The next 12 months will be very telling. We'll come out of pandemic. They've got a very young workforce, very inexperienced. What's going to happen if they start on? None of them, they've not seen anything. All they've ever seen is prisoners locked up, letting a few out for showers, letting a few out for exercise. They've never done association.
So the majority then, because there's a high
They've never been on a wing with all the prisoners out.
Yeah. So because there's a high turnover, it's going to be the majority of staff that are faced with something they've never faced before.
I'm speaking to people. There's a lad now, he's becoming a CM, which is the own principal officer. So for them that haven't seen it before, officer, senior officer, principal officer, CMs they call them now. He is just becoming a CM. He's been in job 2 years. After 12 months, he got his senior officer. The experienced staff, they don't want it now. They're not interested. They just want to, Yeah. So he's telling me, he says, I don't have the skills to manage people. I'm going to be a principal officer very soon. So not only have they got a young workforce, they've got inexperienced management.
Yeah. Sensible officers, like, obviously you told me why Richie Meaden probably didn't take his promotion, because...
Shitloads left in 212. They give them VEDs, which was early retirement. The sensible ones got out. At Strangeways, oversubscribed. Let's say there were 80 people who could get early retirement. I don't know, 300 people applied for it.
Fucking hell. How many work there?
The workforce is very hard. Maybe 400 staff in total. Office staff.
And 300 out of the jail applied for it.
Shitloads did. Everyone was applying for it.
Oh, that's very telling, isn't it? It's very telling about the...
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? If you got any decent timing or whatever, and they was doing a package.
I mean, I noticed someone had told you that they were ex-military and just served 4 years in the military, I think.
Oh yeah, young lad.
Yeah.
He did, I read that.
And he's thinking of going into prison service. You've encouraged him, because
I haven't.
You can't put a downer on, what.
No. I will tell you now. if you took over the last year the people who have contacted me who are thinking of joining, them who've gone on to join, them who haven't for whatever reason, I've never said don't join.
No,
yeah,
no, that's what I know.
There's a lot of negativity. I've never said that. I've said, you know, they've asked for advice. Same advice. Be humble. If you can be humble, that is a good thing. Yeah, and be yourself, because not being yourself will stress you out. You know, if you're not 10 men, don't act like 10 men. Bit on humility. You know, have all these things. I would say way more have gone on to do the job after speaking to them and that than haven't. Some have. Some who I've spoke to have gone, yeah, it's not for me, and maybe it's not. So I've never actively said, don't do this.
Yeah, I noticed that, you know, because you just done your little the vlog about the turnover of staff, which you could tell you was quite passionate and angry about, but you didn't.
Well, no one's talking about it, that's why, mate.
But everything
Because,
that needs to be talked about is not getting
you know,
talked about.
up here, people are discussing education and reform and altering probation and everything.
Yeah.
Guess what? Right at the bottom, on the landings, there's a crisis.
Yeah.
None of this is going to be addressed.
People are not even getting up there to the top where they're working on all this stuff and all the funding's being sent. People are not progressing that far.
There's a lot of people involved in reform who've never been a prisoner, never been prison staff, absolutely clueless.
Yeah.
You know, it's all like not feathering their own nest, but it's almost like looks good on my CV, and they are absolutely clueless.
Yeah. What all I'd say to that lad, I said it to him. You know, bear in mind, did you say he was 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20. Long way off retirement. And you're going to spend more time on the landing than your average lifer.
I've also asked, there's quite a lot of mature people that have contacted me, you know, sort of 30, 40, 50 plus. What I've said to them, if you've got a family, bear in mind the shifts are terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it may well impact your family. And I've also said, have you got something to fall back on?
Yeah.
You know, so if you're a mechanic and you go on two years and think, fucking, you can go back to something like that.
That's probably the best advice you can give someone, have something to fall back on. Because
let's have a look at your notes. We've drifted off track.
Yeah, I do apologise.
No, I apologise.
Right, so we'll get down to my resettlement. The Romanian IPP inmates. How many of them are stuck in the system?
IPP, probably nearer 4,000. However, Charlie Bronson, formerly now Charles Salvador, you know, I've mentioned this before, he won a case. His parole's probably going to be heard in front of a judge, public press. That's a landmark case. I would think if you want the prison population down, then they need to start looking at like everyone who's over tariff, IPP, normal people.
Yeah, they need to look at it and stop
managing it,
talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, where to go? So yeah, here I am now. It's been a uphill struggle to say the least, but I'm still alive and I'm not in jail, so
it's got to be a big plus.
Yeah, it's something.
We're just perusing notes now, guys.
Yes, I'm just looking to see if there's anything that I've missed out. No. So, get back to Loudon Grange.
Yep.
BCAT, private jail. Not bad, like I said. If you get involved in a fight, you're in trouble. But other than that, you could earn 60 quid a week peeling the stickers off coat hangers.
This is another thing, isn't it? Right, so playing devil's advocate, you get people who are saying what prisoners are getting paid for work. Private sector historically has provided the best purposeful activity.
It's the best pay.
Decent pay. You're more likely to get up and go to work every day. Certainly at Forest Bank, they had some cracking workshops. They had a welding shop, auto electrician shop, where you could learn a skill
Yeah.
that you could take out, other than sewing mail sacks, making prison tracksuits, and making up brew packs.
They had contracts with outside companies, and I think they got minimum wage for us, but obviously we didn't get. I mean, probably 250 quid a week, of which we got 60 quid, but no one's complaining.
You're not going to, are you? That's a lot of money.
When you've been used to £7 a week. But the main thing is, as well, the phone calls, the price of them. I never activated my phone account right through my sentence, and no visits. I didn't activate my phone account. But I know from before that fucking price of phone calls. It's no wonder people are sneaking fucking mobile phones in, because it literally, I remember put a £2 phone card in and phone a mobile, and you get about 20 seconds.
Right. I try to give,
and it's all profit, man.
Of course it is. I try and give a balanced view of prison officers. You know, I know these victims are going to be interviewing plenty of victims of crime and the like, but inside, prison phone calls cost an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Ridiculous rates. You know, BT, when I still lived at home, you know, over 40 years ago, everyone knew BT because they were on the British Telecom then, weren't they?
Yeah.
After 6 o'clock at night, you pay a penny for a phone call for an hour. Mobile now, you know, I have a £20 contract a month where I got unlimited everything.
Yeah.
£20 in prison, what's going to get you? 12 minutes?
Yeah, people work all week just to make a phone call.
The other thing is, you know, canteen, I think that went to DHL.
Right. Yeah.
At Forest Bank, they had 3 people ran the canteen from within the prison, their own canteen.
Aramark as well, do you remember?
Aramark, yeah. You got the same deals as supermarkets, people could buy stuff. And what people have to understand is they weren't getting it cheaper than anyone else, but if your £15 or £18 as a sentenced prisoner got your coffee, tea, stuff, you were contented, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
It was at least double that at Strangeways.
Yeah.
You know, you get a Lynx shower gel at Forest Bank, 2 for 99p on offer, same as you could get in Tesco's.
Yeah.
Be £2.50.
Yeah, that's it. The
massive profit for somebody.
Everything was overpriced, especially with Aramark. I don't know what DHL was like, but with Aramark, everything was ridiculously priced. But the phone calls were the worst of all. If you wanted to, everyone had mobiles, didn't they? Nobody had a landline. If you wanted to ring someone on a mobile,
Oh, there'd be that many phones.
Jesus.
I don't even know. At Forest Bank, I've told people this before.
I mean that's the main, communication, keeping in contact.
They were going out at door in bags. Security manager, can you come down, Sam? I'm going to walk you to the gate. Yeah, what can I do? Just take these, put them in your bag. What do you mean get rid of them? Bags full of mobiles. Just find shitloads.
Okay.
Again, I got searched in 3 years 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. I could have taken mobiles in every day. Just in my bag, walk down to Wing with mobiles. It was that easy. People think, there's some sort of security. Strangeways, obviously, high security prison, entry exit was a lot different.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, of course they are. They're not going to give mobiles up, are they? When you,
No.
we know obviously that they don't use them all for friends and family.
No, of course not. But even if they didn't have mobiles, they'd still get the message out.
Yeah, of course they would.
People can use slang in letters and whatnot. People will still get the message out one way or another. But I feel I've pretty much said what I needed to say with meeting you on this podcast and that. I think it's helped me therapeutically. I really do. I'm surprised by the comments that people have made, and I'd like to thank all you subscribers for the positive comments, and I'd even like to thank for the negative ones as well, because
I read them all. I can't reply to them all,
Yeah, well, I've read them all, and I was surprised. I was very surprised. I expected worse.
The thing is, it helps people. You know, it helps people understand the system.
If one person, and I know that there's two watching now who could do with listening really, if one person turns away from the route I took, then maybe I'm halfway towards paying something back. You know, if one person thinks, nah, I'm not going through the shit that he's, you know, if it puts one person off, then something's been achieved.
I think it'll help a lot of people. People understand the system better. You know, just talking about drugs today, when I look at it myself, you know, going back to that last, right, really good at a job, but her own expectations, and I've said it before again, you know, we sat down, we're on K-Wing, she sat there, and I said, honestly, what's the best that you can hope for somebody going out today, one of your customers?
Needle exchange.
Needle exchange, you've heard it.
It's not what you want to hear, really, is it?
No.
It's not very fucking positive. Where's all the money going? You know, where's all this funding going? If that's what they're coming up with.
Well, you just said that now. Let me tell you again. It's off topic, but it's very relevant. That maintenance department at Strangeways, yeah. All good lads. Used to come on healthcare regular. Healthcare were built after the rest of the building. It was quite modern. However, the plumbing was shite. We're all small bore pipes, so it get blocked all the time. So you were having plumbers, or you get people who were running unwell, destroying cells, electrics.
People.
So you knew them really well. Sometime before I left, it went. The same lads ended up working for either GS4 or somebody like that. The maintenance department was, you know, it became private in all public jails. So the lads who were coming on doing the plumbing, and you could have them as many times as you want, and they'd be busy all day, they then had to have a ticket, yeah? And the prison, Strangeways, got charged for every job they did. So, this is true, this. So, again, I've talked about this before. One of the guys, one of the maintenance guys one day, we got a whiteboard, yeah? It's called a whiteboard because it was white, you know? Yeah? So, we got the board. Can you come over and fit this? Yeah. So, he brought his tools over, yeah? 4 screws.
Are you talking about inmates or?
No, this is a qualified guy, worked there years.
Yeah.
They had qualified tricians, plumbers, everything you know, builders, brickies. He's come over, he's brought his tools, he's drilled 4 holes, so he's used 4 raw plugs, 4 screws. He's put my whiteboard that I provided up. Yeah, about a couple of days later, he says, have a look in your emails. Yeah. So he sent me a copy of the bill. Yeah. So what would you think?
Well,
so half an hour of his time, most of his time was spent having his brew. I always used to make them lads a brew. They were good lads. You know, if you want little jobs doing, they'd help you out.
I know where it's going. Realistically, you should be looking at less than 50 quid. I bet you're getting on for a 700-800.
Well, it weren't quite that much, between 4 and 5, about 460 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's half an hour of his time. That's somebody making a massive profit. All them lads worked.
But who? We don't know. Where's it going? Where's the money going?
Oh, they're so backhanders and that, innit? But, you know, when they're on about cost of prisons,
yeah,
you know, factoring all that shit.
And when they're on about the food, they want to look at how much.
Well, imagine if the prison service ran its own canteens, it makes a massive profit.
Yeah.
People would be happier.
More work for inmates as well.
Yeah. Why not get one of these companies in that does the cheap phone tariffs?
Because the most logical answers, they don't like for some reason.
No, they don't.
The most sensible and the most logical answers, the prison service don't like. I'm not slating. I'm done slating people and the prison service. But
we're trying to educate people, aren't we?
Yeah.
You've had good experiences. You met good officers, which, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice. Probation.
The only thing I'd change really is the people that I've, the people that I've affected. Other than that, I've seen a side that a lot of people won't get to see of maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know, but I'm unsure as to what exactly I'd change. To be honest, because I don't actually know where exactly it went wrong. I suppose it's all.
I only do reflection now. We don't use hindsight. That's always like trying to portion blame. It's just reflection. I reflect on things, me, and look at things.
Yeah.
However,
well, that's what I've done after watching this video last. I was able to.
You've covered everything you want to cover.
Pretty much, yeah.
I want to thank you for your time.
That's okay.
On behalf of these guys, it's been an education, a pleasure.
Likewise.
Hopefully, it has helped you. And what I've decided I want to do is people like yourself revisit maybe in 6 months.
Yeah.
Just see how you're getting on. You know, look back at this experience and things like that.
I think that'd be good if you did that with everyone. You know, like Jay and Sean and Steve and Chris. If you can go back, have a timeline. If you can go back 6 months later and have a timeline, that'll certainly be interesting.
And I maybe plan on getting a couple of together, not pairing you up, or in particular, just boom, away you go. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, well, I'm up for it. You know, I'm up for anything that I can do now to put back into the system or to try and change. Let's be realistic. I ain't gonna change anything. Maybe these people listening who've got the power to make changes take on board what's been said, and if you've got the power to make changes, do it. But
from me, thanks for coming, I'll sieve it, and I'm going to leave the last words with you.
Thanks, people. Thanks for all your comments, mostly positive. I'm very surprised and I'm humbled by it. I didn't expect such a response for my offences. I think it's been therapeutic to me, and I've taken something from it. Thank you to your subscribers.
You're more than welcome.
And I wish you all the best. And I hope more people start listening to you and start talking with you, and I hope something can be done in the bigger picture.
Cheers, guys.